That's right.
Extremebrass.com is an interactive website for brass players and music educators alike. Brought to you by Wayne Downey of the Concord Blue Devils Drum and Bugle Corps.
Star Power. What a cool name. What's Star Power all about, Frank?
Well, who's a star? As well played.
Exactly.
What's a star? The star is the soloist.
Absolutely.
And I think from the time where we're very young players, we all aspire to, or at least are inspired by, the soloist, the person who can stand out in front of the ensemble and bring it.
Right, absolutely.
And so there are so many method books for this, that, and the other technique, and some of them good and some of them not so hot.
Right,
But,
tonguing, slurring.
But yeah, sure, and all of those things are important, and not to say they're not. They are.
No, absolutely
But
important.
to my knowledge, no one had ever done a book specifically addressing what was in common with all of the great soloists, and I mean all the great soloists, not just the jazz ones, but also the classical ones. Look at Maurice Andre, not just the horn players too. Look at somebody like Eric Clapton. What makes somebody have star power?
Well, when you first brought this concept to me, I was just enthralled because what a great idea, because no one ever talks about what it takes to be a great soloist. So tell me, what's in the book? I mean, really, what could people look forward to?
Well, two kinds of things. The short answer would be a lot of tricks that soloists use. So a kind of
valuable, actually.
Well, kind of an expansion of your repertoire, so that you can add expressive characteristics. You can add things like, say, trills and slurs and doits and the kinds of inflections that are not taught in standard books. So on the one hand, there are techniques like that, and a systematic approach, because all soloists took a systematic approach to becoming soloists. But the other side of it is there's a sort of an attitudinal part.
Right.
Because you almost have to develop a fighter pilot mentality. You
Sure.
have to be fearless.
Oh, absolutely.
And so
project that sense of strength, of personality.
Yeah, you have to. In short, you have to believe in yourself. You have to have confidence. Now, how do you get confidence? You get confidence in the knowledge of knowing, for example, that you have rehearsed effectively and you hear your own progress. That's when you take the risks in the solos. And you say, you know what, I'm going to go for that note because I know I can get there, or I'm going to play that lick trill on the high G because I know I can do that. Right. So that's what things like that, techniques to develop, to put you in a place where you begin to use these additional vocabulary.
So really, the book covers ornamentation of all different styles. It kind of crosses different musical styles, jazz as well as classical and symphonic music.
Sure, because you'd have to be a soloist in a variety of styles, and a good soloist
Absolutely.
can cover a variety of styles.
Absolutely.
So there's that great story about consistency as a soloist that's told of Bud Herseth in the Chicago Symphony, where at rehearsal, conductor kept asking him to play this one little segment over and over and over again, and was basically challenging him to make a mistake. And finally said, Mr. Herseth, when can we expect you to miss one of those notes? And the theory goes, the story goes, that Bud looked at his watch and said, not today, Maestro. So that's
a great story.
But that's what I mean about having the confidence in the attempt, and not being afraid of the attempt of stretching yourself beyond what a section player might have to
Right.
do. A soloist needs that mentality. You need to have that almost audacious.
Take no prisoners.
Exactly. Right.
Take no prisoners.
Right.
Wow.
So in the book we address the mental, the mindset, as well as the some of the techniques. So as you start to master these techniques, that process in itself begins to give you the confidence.
Sure, absolutely.
Because you will self-monitor. We're our own worst critics, but we're also our best evaluators.
Sure.
And so we know, as we continue through these etudes and exercises, you know what, I'm playing this better than I did last week. And
Confidence builder.
Right. And so that's part of what it takes to be a soloist and a quote-unquote a star.
Right, a star itself. Now, who should really be interested in studying this technique book? I mean, Is it intermediate players? Because it doesn't sound like beginners can probably.
No, I think it's
attach
beyond
to
the
it.
beginner level. I think a good intermediate player, by a good intermediate player, I mean not necessarily somebody that's got the greatest chops in the world, but somebody that's got the greatest incentive.
Right.
If you have the incentive, you'll be able to move forward. That's true of virtually anything. That's a cliche. As a teacher, I've always said to my students, I'll take desire over ability any day.
Absolutely.
So a person with the desire who really wants to go forward and wants to and thinks of himself or herself as somebody who may in fact be a soloist, or who wants to play like a soloist even if they're a section player, that's the person that's going to benefit. That person would by definition be at least an intermediate level player,
Sure.
who was looking towards becoming an expert.
An expert, right. You know, this is really exciting because I think it really gives all the performers in that intermediate to advanced level the opportunity to succeed as a soloist, or at least find the tools to be able to succeed as a soloist. And I don't think there's anything out there in the world that really gives these performers the opportunity to succeed like that as a performer. A star power. What a great title.
Well, thanks.
Go to extremebrass.com.